This is the third trick right here. If you'll notice these futuristic plates right here, if you look at it within black and white, you can see the black lines here and here. And a lot of people, that's fine, okay? But if you notice the difference between, say, that outlet and, what are you looking at? He's a good cat. The other one's a spy cat. And this one over here. Now this box has been painted, but I've also done something else to it on this cover. I had a huge gap right there. Look at that gap. That gap, if you'll notice, is probably 1/8 of an inch, 3-4 millimeters. What I've done is I've caulked all this in. You go, oh my God, you can't do that. If you ever took that plate off, you're gonna ruin the wall. Well, yeah, that's true. You probably would ruin the wall unless you knew what the hell you were doing. Now this one is the same way, but I have not painted it. This one, you can see there's no black lines. It's all been caulked in. Now this is something you can do or not do. If you're going to take the plates off and change them, which you probably won't, think about it. When's the last time you changed the damn wall plate? And these have been on there for like forever. But if you ever need to take the plate off, what you do is you take your painter's knife right here with a little sharp edge and you go like this. You go right down the rubber covering on the caulk and you score it and you cut it and this will fall right out. And you won't hurt the wall, you won't hurt the paint, you won't hurt anything. But if you have all these caulked in, like I've caulked in this bottom one right here, and I still got some places I missed. As you can see, there's a little black line right there. See, caulk does shrink 5 to 7%. Probably it shrinks a little bit more because the water evaporates out of it, because with the economy the way it is, these caulk companies are making the caulk more watery, assholes, and still charging the same price. And I've taken this and I've caulked this doorbell ringer into the wall. Now if I ever want to get it out, I do the same thing. I just take my knife and I dig it in there 1/4 of an inch and I score all the way around it and pull it off. It's no big deal. Caulk is a pliable rubber. Now that's the next thing we're going to do today out of 3 things. And when it all gets done, you're going to look at this job and say to yourself, you know, it looks really nice, but there's just something wrong with it. I can't put my finger on it. The reason that it looks so different is that there are no black lines right here in the top here to gauge it by. Now this is a very good sign right here, if you look. You see this little guy right here? This is just your common, ordinary house spider. All right, and he's got a little friend with him. And they're both looking for a place to hide up in the corners, but there's no place to hide. So they will, you know, cruise around for a while, drop down the floor and die, hopefully. There's just no place for them to hide. If there's no cracks anywhere, then they have no place to hide. And as you can see, painting really adds a lot of value to these old houses. And this is the middle of winter. I can imagine during the bright summer when these windows really shine. What we have here, what are you looking at? This guy that built this house in 1955 was really antisocial, as I understand. What he did was, normally is what you would do is take your windows and put them in the front of the house, which is over that way. We have no windows in the front of our house. Nowadays, you just look out on some busted up street and there's just a whole lot of misery out there, so why look out there? What he did was put his windows towards his backyard or his estate, so he could get up every day and look out on his beautiful backyard and not worry about anyone looking in his window and spying on him. Or something. I don't know. it was a lot of years ago. But that's the way this guy's philosophy was. And I really kind of like it. The only thing that bothers me about these windows is the kids. Because, you know, kids like to play, and if they get too close to one of these windows and go through them, there's a good chance that they aren't going to make it through, especially if they don't have a great doctor, paramedic, or a Austrian spy medic like me standing by. So what I do is I put, I'll put chairs up next to the window. I'll put a whole line of things up against the window so that there is no chance that the children will get hurt, because that scares the hell out of me. Like I said, I watched my brother go through a plate glass window, and if I wouldn't have been there to save him, and everyone's freaking out, but not me, man, I was right there, Johnny, on the spot. If I wasn't right there, closing those wounds and everything else, he wouldn't have made it. So some people are really good in a crisis like me, and some people freeze up. Anyway, that's where we are today, and we'll continue.